Hello and welcome to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Sure feels nice to have the three of us on today.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
We have a special guest on today, very, very special guest. But before we dive into who our guest is, Joe's going to remind us of our purpose.
That's a heck of a teaser there. That was good. The purpose of Searching for Service is intended to reach Rotarians and non-Rotarians and empower them about service, and not only tell great stories, have great people on that exemplify what Rotary stands for, but also just what service is all about. And then just the stories are always the magical component.
Yep.
So that's what we're all about. We're telling those stories to empower people to get involved in Rotary and in serving their communities.
Thank you. That was really good. Just going off the top of your head too. I love it and appreciate it. So our guest today, I noted that it's a very special one, and it's Patricia McCleese. And for those of you who do not know who Patricia is, she's a very important individual. She is our district governor for 5960. So she just took on that role for the year 2023 and 2024.
July 1st, right?
July 1st.
Now, did Dale throw it to you?
Yeah.
I kept on telling Dale she was too good, and her shoes are too big to fill. But I'm trying.
Oh, I'm sure you're doing wonderful.
I am sure that you are going to do just fine, Patricia. We are honored to have you on today. And really for this first segment, we love to get to know our guests. And so let's start off by sharing with our listeners, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Oh, well, I grew up in St. Louis. And when we were in third grade, we moved down to Georgia. So I stayed down there for the rest of my time until I moved up here about 23 years ago.
You can hear a little bit, just a
Southern.
titch of that accent. It's wonderful.
Yeah, Minnesota, I have a special connection with Minnesota, actually. About 3 or 4 months before my dad died, his birthday was in April. And so I said, "Oh my gosh, Daddy, I almost forgot your birthday." And he said, "Don't worry about it. I was really born in October." And I said, "What?"
Yeah.
And I found out that he was actually born in Minneapolis.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I have a lot of relatives up here, I'm sure, and I just wish I knew who they were. But so that's my connection with Minnesota.
Okay. Wonderful.
And then you moved up here, did you say 25 years ago?
23. When I got married. Yeah.
In Rochester, correct?
In Rochester. That's right. Yeah.
And what brought you to Minnesota? Was it a husband or was it a job? Or?
No, it was, I had retired.
Retired? So, congratulations.
Yeah, well, I worked 30 years in Atlanta Public Schools. It was a great experience working with the youth. And then when I retired, my high school sweetheart, we decided we'd reconnect, and I moved up here. He was pining for me all the time. Anyway, so I moved up here. And we were going to move back south, but we fell in love with Minnesota too. So that's where we are.
It tends to happen.
Yeah. It does tend to happen.
We may be biased.
I sometimes wonder why people hand select the Twin Cities and specifically just Minnesota because of how severe the weather can be. But then I think of Hotlanta, as people like to call it. I'm like, well, that really is the other extreme. So you are already versed in that extreme that we have. Yeah. So
were you involved in Rotary in Atlanta, or did you get involved when you got here?
No, I got involved when I got up here. I am a terrible retired person, and so I had to have another job. And I was lucky enough to get a job with Habitat for Humanity, which I stayed with for about 13 years. It was great because all they had to do was be nice, and, and get volunteers. Yeah. And so that's what I was doing in Rochester.
And is that the connection to Rotary then?
Yeah, the connection with Rotary is one member of the board was and a Rotarian. Okay. And so he said, well, who wants to, we think you should be part of Rotary. And so I raised my little hand because I wanted networking. I wanted volunteers. Mm-hmm. And so that's really how I got into Rotary, is through that job.
And then you never looked back.
Well, no. Well, I almost looked back.
Did you?
These are always great.
Yes,
when
let's
people-
hear this
I almost
one.
looked back. Well, I was about a year and a half into Rotary, and I liked the people, and it was nice, but where did I fit in?
Mhm.
And I was thinking about quitting when someone said, "Come on, Patricia, join me, and we're going to go to this district meeting." And at the district meeting, my eyes were just open to the breadth and the depth of Rotary,
Mm.
how it's so international and it has so many connections. So that really hooked me in to Rotary.
Cool.
Yeah, it opened your eyes
Yeah.
to that there's just more than just your club and what your club thinks is important or values. So that's really great. Like, I mean, that's one of the benefits that we've had on this show, with all the interviews is going, man, we've scratched the surface in our weekly meeting, don't
Yeah.
we?
As a new Rotarian, I know more from the show
Yeah.
about the
For sure.
larger parts of Rotary
Yeah.
than I'm still learning. I mean, obviously, there's so much to learn on the international and national level, but
Yeah.
I know more about that than I do as I'm learning the local aspect of it.
It's so impressive
It-
what Rotary does.
It is.
I think that's a word we use a lot is like, man, that's just impressive.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
We talk to somebody.
And what's wild too is if you can't find something that resonates within Rotary for you, you can typically create it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like typically there's a group of
Yeah.
people that are probably searching for something similar that you are, and you're like, how do we get this going? And then it happens. It's just it's story after story after story that we've heard of just, oh, our club didn't have this, so we just created it.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's a district initiative, and then it's international. It's everywhere.
That
So,
is true.
yeah.
That does happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, what during the onboarding process, I know what we do is we'll say, well, what's your interest? What do you really like to do?
Yeah.
And if they have a real passion, then the clubs will support it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Right
Yeah.
away.
They want to engage people right away.
Patricia, I think something that might be a nice little reminder, because we have shared with our listeners the governing part of 5960 versus 5950, but can we just give them a refresher on like where the district 5960 actually does fall?
Oh. We were actually a part of 5950 until the 80s when it was branched off. But we're southeastern Minnesota with a little bit in western Wisconsin. I think we have
Mhm.
9 clubs in that little bit of Wisconsin, but it's southeastern Minnesota.
But that
Okay.
includes St. Paulo too, right?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
where the divide came.
Yes, there's
I'm sure
this
it's,
like
sure it's the river.
it really is silly, isn't it? But it is what it is. So
Well, going back to, kind of the beginnings of Rotary for you is, do you remember what your first service project was? And do you mind sharing the story?
The first no, I will tell you some of my favorite.
There you go. Even
yeah,
better.
that's
I
good.
remember
That's
the
good.
first one. One of my favorite ones is we have a dictionary project where we give dictionaries to third graders. And in my club, we've been doing it for about 13 years and given out probably 16,000 dictionaries. And part of the process is you go in and you shake the hand of the kid and you say, "Congratulations, you have a brand new dictionary." And so the child didn't let go of my hand and kind of pulled me down. And he said, "This is my first." And I said, "Oh, is this your first dictionary?" And he said, "No, this is my first book."
Ooh.
Oh,
I mean, I told that story a gazillion times and it still raises the hair on my arm because
Yeah.
that was one of those moments where you stop and you look at the impact Rotary has, even when it seems like a little teeny tiny thing,
Mhm.
it can have a big impact. And so
Yeah.
that was one. Another example that I have given is we did an ethics training for some high school kids. And then we talked about the 4-way test, but their lesson was to create a lesson to teach third graders. And we had a book about a 4-way test book. And so they had to create a lesson and they were really nervous, but they went into The third grade classroom, absolutely fabulous response from the third graders. And the high school kids left there. And really and truly, if it had been night, I would not have had to turn on any lights because they were glowing with
Oh.
that success. And so that was, and the kids, 3 weeks later, I went back just to get some feedback. And they were saying how it changed the trajectory of their career paths. And they actually came out of the classroom to greet me to thank me about Rotary. So now that was a really, really wonderful experience. And I could go on, but I'll stop.
Well, ask more.
Yeah.
As I was reading and saw that you were a teacher, and kind of seeing some of the areas you focus on. What did you teach when you were in your previous career?
Oh,
What
I was-
subject? Sorry.
Yeah, well, no, it's elementary. I was.
So it was all subjects.
Yeah.
I was wondering because you've done a lot of different areas of
Yeah.
focus within Rotary. I wonder if it's connected to your previous career.
Well, no, I loved teaching. And then I was a teacher trainer and then finally an administrator. So, but it was in the elementary school. Teacher trainer was K through 12, some of the subjects, but mainly for teaching and administration, it was elementary school.
Are you guys still doing a lot within the elementary schools down in Rochester?
Yeah. And in the high school, we are actually starting a brand new program, which I'm thrilled about. It's to develop ethical peace builders. And so we'll have to do a whole program about the Peace Builder program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
really,
Very nice.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Well,
As district governor, you will have a disproportionate amount of clout on what
Yeah.
comes out of the show.
I've got to hurry up and use it.
well, it sounds like you are very versed in making your way up the rungs, whether it's when you were a teacher and now being a part of Rotary and making your way up. So I think for this next segment, we kind of make our segue into you becoming district governor.
Exciting.
Sound good?
Very good.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson,
And I'm Joe Kirk.
and we'll be back.
Hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
And as a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms. And
We'd like you to follow, like, and share.
And then look us up. Look us up by searching for Service on your podcast platform, and you'll find us there.
I love it.
Tongue twister.
It really is.
Searching for service. But you can find us anywhere.
There we go. If you are tuning in for the first time, we have Patricia McCleese. She is our new district governor for 5960, serving for 2023 and 2024. And so our last segment, we got to know Patricia. Now we're really diving into the decision around becoming district governors. So What made you decide to say yes?
And don't say that the straw was the shortest.
No. This is a very, very thoughtful decision you have to make. It really was because when I was president, I had so much fun being president that when it energized me. So at the end of my year, I was ready. I mean, I was full of energy and I wanted to do more. So then I started doing some work at the district level and was able to do a German friendship exchange. Fabulous trip to visit some Rotarians in Germany. And again, my eyes were opened and I'm so excited. And then they send out a letter to all past presidents that here's your opportunity. Do you want to be a district governor? And so I looked at it, put it aside. And then all of a sudden I'd find it in another pile and I'd look at it again and I'd put it aside. And so I did ask my club what they thought about it because that's part of the process. And they said, oh, go for it. And so it was the last day, and I talked to my husband too, so I thought that was nice. And he said, "Go for it."
Gonna be gone a lot, right?
yeah, exactly. And so it was the last day of applications, 30 minutes before the deadline when I finally sent it in.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing like the 11th hour.
You wanted to be on the top of the pile.
I hadn't thought about that, but so it was really a thoughtful, very, very thoughtful. What do I want to do? And so I got here because I had so much fun that I wanted more fun. There's a whole lot of work though.
Yes,
I
there
forgot
is.
about that part of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, talk to us a little bit about the work. Like we've had other district governors on the show. Talk just briefly about what you do as the district governor, and then maybe what particular aspects of what you do that really fired you up.
Well, the work for being a district governor is before you become a district governor. Now you're kind of enjoying the benefits of all the work. So it's kind of like, when you have people come to visit and you step back and look at your house and you go, oh my gosh, I've got to do more. And that's kind of like when you get a leadership position, all of a sudden you look at what the position is, and you say, well, what are my strengths and what can I do to help this move be even stronger? And so it takes a couple of years just to get your arms around what a district does, which is to support clubs. That's why we're here. We have to support clubs because they're the ones that do the work. And so how can you motivate the clubs and how can you open up the clubs perception of what Rotary really is so they can get the most out of their membership as possible.
Listen to Searching for Service. That's how it opens up your eyes.
Yeah, that's one of the ways, actually.
But I just plugged that. It seemed like a good opportunity.
It was a good one. So as a district governor, one of the major perks for me is visiting the clubs, because it forces you to get out there, and then you're truly amazed at what clubs do. So the work to me is really before the year, and now that it's going, of course, what I really wanted to do is to galvanize the district teams because they're wonderful. And so to have a focus.
Talk to us a little bit more about the district teams for those that are unfamiliar.
Well, the whole purpose of a district is to support the clubs, and you support them by connecting the clubs with Rotary International and the services that they provide. And then on the district level, you have membership and you have public image and you have foundation work. And so these people have some job is to do some in-service, that training, making sure that members know about different opportunities. So that's what the district teams are all about. And you have to have strong district teams. And
I could see that. Otherwise, I could see a lot of disconnection between Rotary International and the club level then at that point.
Yeah. So, because RI, or Rotary International, the more you know about it, just as you all were
Mhm.
sharing through this particular medium, you just go, wow,
Yeah,
Mhm.
wow is the word.
wow. And you just can't believe it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I hope
What?
that answered your question.
No, that
Yes.
does. Are there certain service projects that you're really looking forward to implementing and as governor? Is those already set up, or tell us a little bit more on some of the projects you're looking forward to,
Yeah,
or
well,
maybe already started?
Mhm.
Well, each year we have themes from Rotary International, and so it's creating hope in the world is our theme this year. And when you hear that theme, what I hear anyway is when you create hope, you're making a promise. And the promise is you're going to identify a need and you're going to be coming in with some kind of solution. And that kernel of hope that you have made a promise about turns into peace when you get that solution. And so,
That's so good.
It
That's
is really
so
good.
good.
I was like, I was just sitting here kind of going,
Mhm.
yeah, that connects.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And so, what we're doing in our district for the next 3 years, is we have another theme, another initiative, and it's called Make Peace Visible. And what that is all about is Rotarians, just like I said, we look for problems and
Mhm.
then we develop solutions. And every time we have that solution, then that's really making peace visible. We are peace builders,
Yeah.
but how many of us really embrace that identity? How many clubs really go, oh wow, we really building peace in
Eden Prairie.
Eden Prairie, or Minneapolis, or whatever it is
It's
in
okay. We don't expect you to know this side of the river.
Yeah. All good.
I saw Valley View though. I got the road.
Yeah, there you go.
But so anyway, this Make Peace Visible, what we're going to do is 3 years, we're going to encourage clubs to really focus what they're doing and take out their little peace lens and look at what they're doing and saying, oh, wow, we just did highway cleanup. Well, the people that go by there, when things are neat, you have a sense of, oh, wow, this is a nice area, right?
Mhm.
And so you have a little sense of peace. And so you think, well, cleaning up highway is not a big deal, but think of the people that drive by. You really
Mhm.
are establishing an environment where for a little minute they have some peace. Anyway, so I'm really excited about it. We have some wonderful activities. We're going to be focusing on peace talks. To expand awareness of what people know about peace. And we have NASA, this gentleman coming, zooming in. He's going to talk about the Interplanetary Space Station and how they're really intentionally making it peaceful.
Mhm.
We have the
Huh.
U.S. Alliance of Peace is going to come in and talk. We have a youth Peace and Action fabulous program that's going to be a keynote speaker at our conference of clubs. Plus, she's going to be doing some work on developing peace builders for youth. And then, so those are just a few of the ones that we're having to come in.
Wow.
Yeah. So then we're really focusing on Braver Angels because that's trying to teach people with differing opinions
that
to
in
have
mind.
a conversation. We're going to do Positive Peace, which is Rotary and an Institute of Economics and Peace program. Absolutely fabulous. So, and those are just a few of the things that we're doing. So that's one thing I really have a passion about because we are going to have a pre-election, election, and post-election years, and so dissensions might rise. And so, but in Rotary, if we focus on peace, and we talk about peace, and we promote peace, you never know how that's going to wave out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and touch other people. So
Well, and as
that's what we're doing.
as the theme of this show suggests, I mean, it's pretty hard to not be peaceful when you're serving others,
Right.
and I heard that through the
Mhm.
the highway cleanup project, and you're going, well, that's just service. Service is peaceful. So,
Mhm.
for those that are listening that are not Rotarians, that's how you can support this initiative outside of Rotary is just to serve
And be kind.
and to be
Mhm.
kind.
That's right.
I like what?
I love it. Love you. That's so great.
Well,
For those of you who are Not Rotarians.
For now.
Yes, for now. Mm.
Yeah, it's real interesting. The Rotary International president, Gordon McAnally, one of his programs is mental health. And he was saying about how research shows that your mental health can really be benefited just by being nice to one another.
Yeah.
And going to Rotary meetings, and you have that camaraderie, and people,
Yes.
it's like cheers, they know your name and they
Mhm.
care. And so that's another example of how Rotary is important.
It's a sneaky thing to like, because we really push the service component, regardless if you're part of Rotary or not. But what's really ironic is the more you get into service, the more likely you're going to join Rotary.
So true.
Because you're like, oh man, they do all of this work here. I'll just go to this meeting instead and serve on the committees and all that stuff. So,
Well, as a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
and I'm Joe Kirk.
We'll be back.
Hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms and
Like, share, 5-star.
And look us up by searching for service.
you're going to get it. I
It's a tough
promise
one.
you'll get it next time. If you are tuning in for the first time, we have Patricia McCleese, who is district governor, new district governor for 5960. And Chad's going to roll us in for this next segment.
So, I'd like to ask a question or variation of this, and so you can pick which direction you like to go. What service project either had the most impact on your life, or that you were a part of had the biggest impact you felt outside of, on the world or
Hmm.
community?
Hmm.
Is there one that you?
Well, there is one. We in Rochester, there are 3 Rotary clubs, and they're very collaborative. And they have the 3-club grants team, and the grants team. They wrote a global grant, and it was to supply water to a town. And then the GNO, which is, and I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's the organization that manages it within that company or
Mhm.
country, actually zoomed in and gave us a report. And our little club helped 32,000 people get water.
Wow.
I mean, that's a double arm, hair raising
Yeah.
statement to think that in Rochester, Minnesota, we helped
Mhm.
for the first time they got water.
Clean water. Do you know what country it was in?
It was in Central America, and I
Central
don't
America,
I don't remember the country. And all I could think about is the people and the joy they must have had.
Oh, gosh.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, and we've had quite a few people on talking about water projects and whatnot. And it's not just the water, it's then the downstream effects. It's the sanitation, it's the education, it's the
Accessibility.
women's ability to
Stay in
participate
school.
in school and
Mhm.
yeah, and all of that stuff. And just the huge impact that water has.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
cool.
another example is the district actually wanted to try a different kind of project, or So what they did is they went to Nicaragua, because that is, I think, besides Haiti, is one of the lowest poverty countries in the world. And they don't go in there with the idea of doing a project like water. They go in there with the idea of helping to elevate and empower the people so that they can take charge. Because there are a lot of times, some projects, they would put in a well, but then once it broke, nobody knew how to fix it. Well, that
Mhm.
was a long time ago, and so we learned our lesson. Now it's sustainability.
Mhm.
But to think that these people are so poverty, in such a poverty area, that every day is just a struggle to survive. And so to raise themselves up even a little bit, because this
Mhm.
is a mantle of, you have to walk 5 miles just one way to get water,
Yeah.
and there's no place to go. And anyway, so it took a few years to empower them. So now they have a library and a pharmacy, and
Wow.
then all of a sudden it was like bloom, and again they had water. And so they sent us a video of the first time they had water, and the lady was crying so much, because here she is in early 30s, and they've never ever had water in their town. Now,
Mm-mm.
can you imagine?
It's hard to wrap your
It's
mind
No,
around.
really
it
hard
really
to wrap
is.
your. And so now, because of, and these are club supported projects. It's not just district and global grants. This is club supported. But I like the approach of addressing the poverty issue so that you empower people to look at themselves differently,
Mhm.
because then all of a sudden you do change
Yeah.
lives forever.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, and every time that we ever talk about water and stuff, is that the level of disparity in our world that exists, like that level of disparity is something that we have no understanding of, like whether we
No.
want to try to or not. Like we have never experienced not having a source of water, and it's just fascinating that that still exists. Like it's just a silly. It's
Mhm.
really silly. And, I'm glad that Rotary and other organizations are working hard to remedy that. But it's just, that's always the part that I'm always like, gosh, like you're so happy that their basis of life has changed, but at the same time, it's like this should not be a problem for
I
you.
know. It's
Yeah,
very
or
true.
the lights too.
Yeah.
They gave those solar lights, and so now all of a sudden kids can read and do their studies at night, or even just going to the latrine. I mean, really,
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be a big deal. So, so yeah, we're humbled by what needs to be done, and I'm so glad there are organizations like Rotary that will address those needs and try to do something about it.
You talk about what needs to be done, and you've highlighted a few of the district's initiatives in terms of the Make Peace Visible. Are there things like physical projects that we're supporting and getting behind? Is there a district project of some kind or a district initiative in that way?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. We have a peace project that's related to the environment, and we're going to do one every year. But this one, electric batteries need lithium and some other materials. But as you know, that the problem is that only less than 5% of lithium batteries are recycled, and there's the supply chain is damaged, and then the way of getting lithium is a little dangerous too. So what we're doing is we're partnering with Redwood Materials in Nevada, and the people who what they do is they take lithium batteries, they grind, lithium batteries, they grind it up and they extract all these minerals, and then use them for electric batteries and for other things. And so the people who started this business, this Redwood Materials, are the people who created the electric car that was sold and is now Tesla. And so they're the ones that started that the electric motor, whatever. And
Fascinating.
it is fascinating. And so what we're doing is we're offering it to all the clubs to do some kind of event. And then you sign up and they'll send you the free boxes, and it really does. It's a turnkey project. So I'm very excited about that. We had one president-elect during the training. She was told about it, and there was an event in her town, electric cars with the chamber. And so she jumped on it in August 5th. And even though it was a small town, they still got 3 big boxes of lithium batteries. And so all that will be sent back. And so if we had every club,
I feel like I could send 3 boxes of lithium batteries.
All right. Okay. So you put the challenge down. I'm going to get a box for you. And then every week you can, report on, we've got 1 box full. We're close to small to get. So anyway, that's going to be a great environmental project.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And you're right. The lithium problem is a real one in terms of the supply chain, the way it's sourced, the way the extraction. Some of the geopolitical issues that we're having in the world right now are making it more difficult for us. And so I think that's a really great initiative.
It's news to me, but you learn something new every single day.
Every single day. And so what has
lithium from your husband.
And so what has lithium batteries are those like toothbrush, your phones, any of those tools in your garage that have a rechargeable battery.
It's most rechargeable. Nowadays, any modern battery that's rechargeable generally is lithium.
Yeah, so we're
don't bring in your Tesla batteries though.
They won't fit in the box.
Those won't fit in the box.
Yeah.
So
is there anything else that like personally it excites you the most for this year? You're at the helm, you get to do a lot of fun stuff, and
you did all the work to get here.
You did all the work to get here. Everybody's looking at you for direction and for, good kick in the butt, I guess is the better
leadership.
Leadership is another way to put it, Chad. That's good. So what are you most excited for? Like, what's your beacon of light that you're going to be sending on everybody?
That Make Peace Visible. I'm very, very excited about the potential for 3 years talking about it. And my year is going to be planting seeds of peace. And then the next 2 years, I'm really excited to see what clubs will do about it. We
Mhm.
already have clubs that do peace parks and a peace garden and peace polls. They have peace essays. But what else can we do to really inspire people to start promoting peace a little bit more?
Yeah.
So that's what I am totally excited about.
Plant peace for all to see.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
Joseph Kirk.
let me write that down. I like it. I'm going to
Plant peace.
Trademark,
Plant
copyrighted. You heard it
peace
right.
for all to see.
Plant peace, right? So all can see. I like it.
What's the one of my favorite sayings is communities grow great when people plant seeds of of which the shade they will never sit
Oh
in.
yeah, the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I
tree.
love
Plant
that.
the trees and they.
So there you go.
Of
We're
the-
planting the peace that we may or may not see. We hope we
Alright.
see, though.
Well,
Our children and their children.
That's
and
right.
yeah,
Children's children.
yeah.
We'll see. So
So that's my hope, that we can really get this galvanized and
Well, what's great about that is a lot of that is just modeling that for others.
Mhm.
People tend to adopt models,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
and
it's
if you can model something that has a lot of impact and
the boxes,
in the box,
that's
yeah.
when it's simple.
Yes.
You know, we can fill boxes up. You know,
It is
with-
simple.
well, and that'll start with you. You can
Yeah.
model it for us, and then we can model it for our club, and then the people that we see, and it spreads like wildfire.
In this last segment, we will talk about upcoming goals and visions for your role as district governor. As
and
a rem-
beyond.
And beyond. Yeah, we think long term.
Yep.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Hello, and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 59, 50, and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms and
Like, share, 5-star reviews.
And search for us by looking up Searching for Service.
That was a good way to transition. Yeah, that was the best. Looking up. I got to use that more.
Nailed it.
You nailed it.
I was just basking in my glory for a second there. So, Patricia, our last segment, it's our favorite segment because it allows us to dream ahead. And I know for you, you've got a year, but think past that even, if you will. What is your hope, especially as you've been exposed on the district level now? Like, what are your hopes and dreams for Rotary, for yourself? Do you have aspirations past the district?
You're not going to the international?
No international for me.
Careful what you wish for. There are many people listening.
Well, put me on the no list.
They're like, oh, does Patricia know what we have in store for her?
Yeah.
The plans for thee. Yeah. So just share some of the vision, the dreams. And I always like to, if there's something in your heart that you'd love to see out, like, whether that's through Rotary yourself or your communities. So it's a nice platform for you.
Oh, well, I've got to think for a second about this. What do I see in the future for Rotary? Paul Harris, there's a quote he says, the world is changing and Rotary has to change to keep up with it. And so the Rotary story has to be retold over and over again. And the Rotary story, when you look from its inception back in 1905 to now, how it has evolved over time is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
From being a strictly male organization, strictly white organization, strictly business, no nonprofit organization, to now we have women and we have, we're in 200 countries. And we are really trying to attract the younger groups of individuals, and the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece is also part of the evolution. And it really is only talking about how do we open doors so that that Rotary is developed so everyone feels included. And so when I look for the future, I just see a lot of opportunities for growth. And a lot of opportunities to take hold of that potential and do something with it. So I'm really excited. Just like this, making peace visible. What are we going to be making visible in the future? And the way we're going now, I think it's going to be a glorious future of inclusion and welcoming and belonging and doing even more than we do now. And we're pretty impressive with what we do now. So that's my vision for the future, and being more intentional about what we do. But I'm excited about about what can happen and the potential. And I truly have faith in the members of Rotary, because another quote from Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary, and I can't remember the whole quote, but one part that stuck out is Rotary lives the golden rule. And that could be golden rule in action. Maybe we should use that as something.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so
stay gold, pony boy.
Yeah.
Stay gold.
Oh God. Oh my God.
I don't know about that one. But since we do live the golden rule, we associate with people that we may not have associated with, except that we come together not because of our differences, but because of our common value. And I think that's one thing I love about Rotary is when you go and you're with some Rotarians, you really don't meet strangers, you meet future friends because you have a platform for conversation.
Yeah.
And again, how can we replicate that in the world? I mean, we really are role models for how I think communities should operate, in that we come together because of our values and what we want to do good in the world. So,
Well,
I don't know.
we replace fear with faith, if that makes any sense. Like, and you can loosely use faith however you choose to, but I think um, faith in each other, humanity,
Yeah.
community, serving, those types of things. I think those are pretty universal, universal tactics, and Rotary deploys that better than any organization on the planet. If I'll be, so.
And when
likely
you
to say.
consider it's 200 countries, or around 200 countries with 200 different cultures, of the ways they do things, right?
Yeah.
And so, but yet we come together, and we are achieving some wonderful, impactful service.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
and I'm always blown away too by, wherever there's conflict or wherever there's things, we're there. We're in Ukraine.
Yeah.
We're in Iran. We're in wherever.
South Sudan,
Yeah, South Sudan. We're
Ethiopia,
there.
Pakistan.
And we don't beat our chests. We just do the work. We
Yeah.
do the work, and we do the good, and we hope it's contagious enough to, inspire people to continue to take action.
I love that. Contagious enough to inspire action. Yeah, I've got to write
He's
that one
just
down. I mean, he's
full
just
of
a
really
font,
great-
isn't he? Just
Yeah.
a font of little sayings. Yeah.
You can imagine how our household is.
A font.
Yes, a font.
I've been told I've been full of lots of things in my life.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to Rotarians that want to get to a district level, or and grow past just their own club? Obviously you did that, and once you chose, but what would you say, and where do you start?
Well, do I have some opportunities for them? I mean, we really have some opportunities for them. And I think from the district perspective, we really do need to advertise more about our one ads, because we're looking for those spark plugs that are willing to do a little bit of the work. But if people have that idea that they want to move forward, then they will be welcomed with open arms. Let me tell you, I'm Patricia McCleese. Call me.
I love
it. That's interesting. That actually brings me to a question that I just don't know the answer. So aside from the president, who typically is kind of the liaison with the district within a club?
Well, there's
the past president.
No, the past president. No, we have different teams. Each club has a team, so you might have a membership or a PI or a foundation or whatever, and so then that matches up with the district.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's how you get the information from the RI, funneled some information to those people.
The only reason why I asked that is because we were talking a little bit off air on like how do we continue to reach more of our clubs with the show, because we feel like it's a powerful tool to help support that future and all of the endeavors that you have going on. And I was just like, gosh, who are we talking to in clubs?
Yeah.
Like who should we be?
I would think the public image people would be,
Yeah,
and not
Mhm.
every club has a PI person. So, because again, it really depends on who wants to step forward in their club.
Yeah.
And then do they have a real definition of what the job is?
Yeah.
So yeah, some PIP are really looking for something to promote. So
that's really interesting.
But PI is the way.
Because we were thinking
Okay.
president, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't get another
got
thing.
enough of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, I think the best thing to do is to send it to all the club execs that there, because you never can tell who would see it and go, oh, wow, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
And
What do you mean? They're all watching it now.
absolutely.
We were talking about the district conference is coming up.
Thank
Let's make sure we
you.
talk about that coming up in October.
Okay, October 14th. It's going to be at Northfield. The focus is on Make Peace Visible, but the title is Creating Hope Through Peace. So we're very excited about it. We have wonderful speakers. Patricia Schaefer is the CEO of the Youth Peace and Action, and Damon Jenkins is the president of.
I cannot think of the bank. I think it's the first African American owned bank in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, we're real
Maybe the
excited.
state.
Yeah, and we're really excited to hear from him because it's really a Rotary story of partnerships and working together to meet community needs. So we're real excited about that. So that's going to be October 14th, and we're going to close the day with a barn music dinner dance extravaganza.
Fun.
Yeah. Well, you two should come. Bring the font with you.
Where is it?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Chad and Kelly. Like, you two should come
Yeah.
and leave him at home.
I will put a link in the description too. So if you're listening, you can click on the link to get information and sign up.
Thank you very much for doing that.
Where is it?
It's going to be at Northfield.
At Northfield.
At St. Olaf.
St.
Oh,
Olaf.
nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Okay.
Last
It's-
15 seconds before
Oh,
we kind of
Too
let
much
you go.
pressure. Too much.
Last 15 seconds. A lot of the people that are listening to this show are not Rotarians and looking to get into service. What is your suggestion on how they get started in service?
If you really want to do service, if you have that heart for service, then any Rotary Club would welcome you with open arms. So all you have to do is just reach out. Just reach out and contact me, Patricia McCleese.
Love it.
There you go.
Patricia, it was an honor to have you on.
much.
We're so happy that we got to know you a little bit better and your role as district governor for this year. So thank you.
Thank you for the
Very
opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk,
It's time to stop searching.
and start serving.